Okay, everybody. Okay, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Arthur Home Media Reviews. In the previous episode, we took a look at Arthur's new puppy. But now, in this episode, we are going to be taking a look at another Arthur release. And this time, we are going to be taking a look at Arthur's Tooth. Now, before we get into the release date of the VHS release, I just wanted to say that that Arthur's New Puppy was actually released on VHS in April of 1998 instead of July of 1998. If I made a mistake in the date in the previous video, I just fixed it up. So, here we go. Now we're moving into Arthur's Tooth. So, Arthur's Tooth was released on VHS in July of 1998. And then it was released on DVD on February 1st of 2005. Which is the version that you're looking at right here. Okay, so the front cover of Arthur's Tooth shows a picture of Arthur holding the loose tooth. The spine shows Dash's PBS Kids logo, and it's bright blue with dark blue writing. And if you look at the back, it lists the episodes, which are Arthur's Tooth, which is a Season 1 episode, Sick as a Dog, which is another Season 1 episode, and The Secret Life of Dogs and Babies, which is a Season 6 episode. And this DVD of Arthur's Tooth contains the Mark Rendall redubbed version. And also, now we're going to, and look, it's from February 1st of 2005. Beginning in February 1st, 2005, Juicy Juice and Post Alphabets and Teddy Grahams, they don't sponsor Arthur anymore. So Chuck E. Cheese's is the only sponsor on this DVD of Arthur's Tooth. And all of the Arthur DVD releases from February 1st of 2005 onward would contain the cookie jar logo on the back cover, but they would still contain the Cinar logo on Arthur DVD releases as late as May 31st of 2005. Even though there is a DVD of Arthur Makes a Movie from 2014 that has the Cinar logo make a surprise appearance. So, now we're going to go over each episode and what I think of it. Arthur's Tooth is the episode where everyone in the class has lost a tooth except Arthur. Because of the fact that Arthur did not lose his tooth until later on, Francine keeps teasing him about it and calling Arthur a baby. Which, what Francine did in that episode was not really polite. She was kind of being rude in that episode, calling Arthur a baby, and Arthur was afraid to admit that other people would laugh at him because he didn't lose his teeth yet, and plus he was 8 years old already, so Arthur tries everything to get rid of that loose tooth, but it just wouldn't budge. And then Arthur thinks of several ways to get rid of the tooth, including asking Buster and Binky to punch him in the mouth, but that wouldn't work. Then Arthur finally goes to the dentist, And the dentist already says that having all those baby teeth doesn't mean that he is a baby. And he even tells Arthur that some children don't even lose their baby teeth until they are like 9. And he explains to Arthur that everyone is different. And then Arthur finally gets his tooth out, and then the next episode is called Sick as a Dog, in that episode Arthur accidentally gives Pal treats that dogs shouldn't eat. At first, Arthur gives Pal a few pieces of pancakes, and then he gives Pal some Halloween candy, and then Pal swallows a hot dog whole filled with mustard that DW was holding. And then DW tells Pal that someday that she is going to teach Pal a lesson that he would not forget. And then Arthur's dog Pal lies in bed and has a terrible, terrible illness. I think he has a terrible stomach ache in that episode from eating. Yeah, he has a terrible stomach ache in the episode from eating too many things that dogs shouldn't eat. And as a result, Pal has to go spend the night at the vet's office, and that makes Arthur very afraid about what happened. And then Arthur thinks DW was the one that made Pal sick, and he tries to play courtroom with Francine, Buster, and the Brain. And then they find out that the reason why Pal was having a stomach ache was because he ate too many things that dogs shouldn't eat. And Arthur gives out a list of ingredients. He ate pancakes, 2-year-old Halloween candy, some gum, and then he swallowed a hot dog with mustard. And then the veterinarian gives Arthur a book on ways to keep a dog healthy. And then DW asks Arthur to read him a book about dog training, and that ends the episode. And then the last episode, The Secret Life of Dogs and Babies, I think that is the funniest episode of Arthur I've ever discovered. Well, basically, whenever the humans speak, Pal only barks, and baby Kate only cries and laughs and giggles. But when the humans are speaking gibberish, that's when Pal talks and baby Kate talks as well. It's kind of similar to the Clifford the Big Red Dog episodes from the John Ritter era, where when the dogs speak, there are no humans at all. And when the humans do arrive, the dogs only bark. And meanwhile, Arthur's dad is trying to look for a bride and groom for the top of the Crosswire cake for Ed Crosswire's party. And then near the end of the episode, baby Kate realizes that when they put the statue in the tower, she thought everyone would turn into babies, but they did not turn into babies, even though they behaved like them near the end of the episode. And yeah, The Secret Life of Dogs and Babies was, I think, the funniest episode of Arthur I've ever seen. And then, alright, now I'm going to explain the opening and closing to this DVD of Arthur's 2. It opens the same way as my other Sony Wonder DVD releases of Arthur, except after the DVD menu is shown, which says Arthur's 2, it shows the Arthur theme song with the standard glass breaking noises, and the start of the episode Arthur's 2. Yeah, I know, right? Essie, the DVD and VHS collector and program breaker 20K5 joined us, and he says, The Secret Life of Dogs and Babies, the Justin Bradley 2001 original dub, along with Prunell's special edition, are so extremely rare. Yeah, that's because The Secret Life of Dogs and Babies on this DVD contains the Mark Rendell redubbed version, which is a lot more common than the Justin Bradley version, believe it or not. Anyway, after the DVD menu is shown on Arthur's 2, it goes to the Arthur theme song with the standard glass breaking noises and the start of the episode Arthur's 2. Now, at the very end of the DVD release of Arthur's 2, there is something very interesting because it closes with the last few seconds of the episode, The Secret Life of Dogs and Babies, then the Arthur Online and Local Library promo from 2001 to 2003, and then the Arthur End credits, which are from Season 6, and they include the Techno remix in this release. And it includes the Techno remix. And then it contains the Arthur funding credits, and the Chuck E. Cheese's ad from 2002, which is the opening door variant. And then it contains the Arthur funding credits from Season 6, with the grassy green squared background. And as you know, the Season 6 funding contains grants from Ready to Learn Television Cooperative Agreement, U.S. Department of Education, Public Broadcasting Service, and public television viewers. And of course, this has the grassy green squared background on the DVD of Arthur's 2. The grassy green squared background also appears on the DVDs of Arthur's Snow Day, Arthur the Good Sport, and Arthur's Family Fun, which those DVD releases had the Season 6 funding with that green background being followed by the PBS Kids dot transformation bumper from 2000. But on Arthur's 2, it actually includes a completely different PBS Kids logo, because after the Season 6 funding with the green background is used on Arthur's 2, it uses the 2002 PBS Kids ident from January 21st of 2002, back when Cyber Chase premiered. And there existed two versions of the PBS Kids logos from January 21st of 2002. And they were animated at Primal Screen. One included the fishbowl version, where Dash looks into a fishbowl, imagines himself as an orange goldfish, and then gets eaten by Dot as a green fish. And then there's another version of the PBS Kids logo from January 21st of 2002, which includes the snow globe variant, where it features Dash ice skating inside a snow globe, while Dot, the girl, holds the snow globe. And there existed two versions of both the fishbowl and snow globe logos. There existed the regular versions of those logos, where the regular version of the snow globe logo contained Dot, and she was looking directly at the viewer in the regular version. Whereas in the prototype version, the background was completely different. It was much darker. The trees looked completely different. The ice skating rink is shaped differently. And then the snowflakes were bigger and brighter. The animation was much smoother. And Dot looks down in the prototype version. And strangely enough, she has fingers in that version of that logo. And then the regular version of the Fishbowl logo contains the same animation as the prototype version, except the prototype version of the Fishbowl logo has the orange and green fish slightly off the screen, whereas in the regular version, it's properly on the screen. And the leaves look a little different in the prototype version, and the logo is more in widescreen. And the word kids is added at the bottom in both the prototype versions of the Fishbowl and the Snow Globe logos. And the prototype version of the Snow Globe logo would have the trees being purple in the prototype version. Of course, those were the 2002 PBS Kids logos I talked about. From January 21st of 2002, the logos from January 21st of 2002 included the Fishbowl variant and the Snow Globe variant. And this DVD of Arthur contains the PBS Kids logo from January 21st of 2002 that is the Fishbowl variant, where Dash looks into a fishbowl, imagines himself as a goldfish, and then gets swallowed by Dot as a green fish, and it contains the regular version of the PBS Kids Fishbowl logo. And the Arthur DVD releases that contain the PBS Kids Fishbowl logo, along with TV airings of Season 7 that use the Fishbowl logo, they have the Fishbowl logo fade in and out, and feature the URL for pbskids.org down below. There was another version of the regular Fishbowl and Snow Globe logos where they did not fade in or out, but they still contained a URL. And there was another version of the regular Fishbowl and Snow Globe logos that did not contain the URL. So this DVD of Arthur's Tube has the Fishbowl logo, the regular version of the Fishbowl logo, where it features the URL address for pbskids.org and features the logo fading in and out. Then we go into the Kidio promo, the Sony Wonder Online bumper from 2004 to 2006, and the DVD menu. Hey, I have an idea. Why not make a few Arthur DVDs with the PBS Kids Snow Globe logo, since there are no Arthur DVD releases from Sony Wonder that do contain the Snow Globe logo. There are no Arthur releases from Sony Wonder that contain that logo whatsoever. Yeah, and there was one that had the Fishbowl bumper cropped on Super Y and Martha Speaks, and the Snow Globe logo was also cropped on Super Y. Did you know that? And okay, so and believe it or not, believe it or not, the PBS Kids Fishbowl logo was one of my most favorite PBS Kids logos, and I believe the PBS Kids Fishbowl logo was the funniest PBS Kids system cue that I ever saw. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Anyway, that wraps up for the review of the Arthur's 2 DVD release. Stay tuned for episode 7, which we are going to be taking a look at Arthur's Pet Follies.